Hey Titans, it's Lexi here. I'm a peer health educator working for TitanWell. I just want to say thank you for tuning in to our virtual hut today. And since it is National Suicide Prevention Month, that is the topic we are going to be discussing throughout the video. I know suicide can be a triggering and difficult topic, but it is so important to discuss it so that we can bring awareness to suicide and mental health. This can reduce the stigma, help us get support and provide support, and make us feel less alone. Before we get started, here are some resources that you can contact if you are experiencing a crisis or any suicidal thoughts. For this video, we will talk about the statistics, how to identify suicide risk, considerations, how to respond, and resources. So let's get started with some statistics and understanding how prevalent suicide and suicide ideation really is. Among what age group do you think suicide was the second leading overall cause of death in 2016? Thank you for answering that. The age group was 15 to 29-year-olds. My next statistic is one person dies every 40 seconds from suicide, and close to 800,000 people die from suicide in the world every year. When it comes to Cal State Fullerton, around 43% of Titans felt so depressed that it was difficult to function. And about 13% of Titans have seriously considered suicide, according to the National College Health Association survey in 2018. Now that we've gone over the statistics and have a better understanding of how many people have struggled with suicide, let's talk about how to actually identify risk so that we can offer support and prevent suicide. There are 3 ways to identify risk for someone who may be contemplating suicide, and it is very important to take each risk seriously. These 3 include verbal, behavioral, and situational clues. Can you tell me what may fall under each of these clues? Thank you for answering. So for verbal clues, some may be direct or indirect. Some who are more direct might say something like, "I'm going to kill myself," or "I wish I was dead." Someone who is more indirect might be more subtle and say something like, "I'm tired of life," or "Who cares if I'm dead anyways?" With behavioral clues, some of this might look like giving away prized possessions, missing classes, isolating, alcohol and/or drug abuse, unexplained anger or irritability, or co-occurring depression or hopelessness. Situational clues can include death of a loved one, especially if by suicide, loss of financial security, being fired or removed from school, diagnosis of a serious or terminal illness, or fear of becoming a burden to others. I want to let you know that this is not everything, but these are very major examples of signs to look out for. To learn more, please check out suicidispreventable.org. Now Frankie, another peer health educator at TitanWell, is going to take over and talk about considerations, how to respond, and resources.
Hello, everyone. Like Lexi mentioned, my name is Frankie, and I'm another peer health educator at TitanWell. And I'll be finishing up the rest of the video with you. But before we can continue, here's a reminder of some of the resources you can use to talk to someone about a crisis or suicide. So now that you understand some of the signs that can help identify a risk, what's next? Yeah, that's great. Having a conversation with that person and asking them if they are thinking about suicide. However, if you don't feel comfortable during doing this, it doesn't have to be on you. Just find someone that can help. Let's say you ask someone if they are thinking about suicide. What should you not do? Exactly. Try not to minimize the situation and their vulnerability, like saying other people have it worse. Avoid saying, "You aren't thinking about killing yourself, are you?" This question is judgmental and assumes that it is wrong for them to think about suicide. Also, it's likely to generate a false answer and interrupt a chance or opportunity to help. So, what should you do instead? Thank you for answering that question. Yes, it is very important to speak in private, use open body language, and provide enough time to have this conversation. Try to avoid making faces or judgmental noises and crossing the arms. Also, when asking, try to be direct, avoid judgment, and have resources available. You can acknowledge their change in behavior and let them know you care, and ask, are you thinking of killing yourself? Being this direct will provide a clear question and invites open conversation. If you're uncomfortable being this direct, you can ask questions like, do you still want to be alive? Or have you been so unhappy lately that you don't want to live anymore? Ultimately, find something that works for you and that works with the way you speak. So after you ask this person the question, what's next? Yeah, offering help and providing resources. You can say something like, I want you to live. Will you go with me to get help? I know this can be scary, but by doing this, you are listening, providing support, and providing them with resources that they may need to get help. Some resources that can help include Cal State Fullerton's Counseling and Psychological Services. Their number is 657-278-3040. If you are experiencing any suicidal thoughts, you do not need an appointment. A crisis counselor will be available to talk 24/7 through that number. Another resource that is available is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. They will also provide 24/7 free confidential support for people in distress and more resources for you or your loved ones. Here are other resources you can access as well. Again, I know this can be scary, but your efforts can help save a life and provide hope for someone who needs it. Thank you so much for tuning in into this very important virtual hut video.